All right. And so when they are doing the meta modeling, the social engineering part of the neuro-linguistic programming, so when they are doing this meta modeling and this meta positioning, and when they set it up for the reframe, lately they've been using, as a meta model, they use J-Lo and Ben Affleck. So J-Lo is actually the honeypot as the meta model. So anything that the honeypot is doing, or the porn star, or just whatever, that's what J-Lo will be doing also. And I guess Ben Affleck is Geron. I don't know. And also, too, the roles could be reversed. I've noticed that as well, because they do this reverse psychology bullshit. So recently we had how J-Lo went to go visit Ben Affleck, that is new office, and I posted that on my YouTube channel. I think it was like between a week or two ago. It couldn't be longer than that. But the video is definitely there on my YouTube channel. And so, one of the things I also wanted to go over on this program is how the sexual exploitation is synchronized and with electronic warfare. So that's what you see underneath like the tarot card section. And so they do this like whole like sex magic ritual where if you jack off or masturbate to porn, they will synchronize this with an electronic harassment attack, which is electronic warfare. And that creates an electronic holocaust. And then, of course, if or when these targets try to go complain or get help or report this, they're institutionalized and they're forced onto antipsychotic medication. They are overdosed, and then they are systemically murdered inside of the hospital. And so at the very least, they may be, some sort like brain dead to some degree. But so anyways, I wanted to kind of just pick up right where I left off on the program the last time I did it. The last time I did the program, I was just trying to be a little funny and I was being a little dramatic. But after doing some research and looking for myself, I noticed that how it is actually true. Jerron really does just go to work to jack off. And so he absolutely is raping Boeing for their time and raping all his coworkers and, raping the boss because he's not actually working. He's just sitting there watching porn and jacking off. And the most interesting thing to me about this is how highly intuitive I am. And it doesn't even have anything to do with them talking about J-Lo going to Ben Affleck's, visit Ben Affleck's office and all this passive aggressive subliminal messaging. It really doesn't. It has to do with me being an intuitive empath and just knowing when I am being lied to, like feeling it in the bottom of my pit to the point where my stomach is in knots and I can't sleep. So after doing some investigating, that's exactly what I found out. And so unlike Jerron, I actually will be working at work in the public eye and in security camera view. And on hard flooring for 8 to 10 hours, 40 hours a week, or just whatever. So again, these men, they don't work as much as these women. And with these mind control psyops, what they would ideally have these victims doing is they sit them down in a room. Typically it's at like a classroom or something like that, and then they put these tapes on where they watch them on repeat. Well, because of the street theater, he's so, and his addictions, his sex addictions, he's so in tune with that frequency that he literally cannot wait to have time to himself so he can put the honeypot back into the context, which is what he's doing when he's watching porn. And this is also how this COINTELPRO is going about manufacturing consent. So all of this domestic violence and all of this terrorism and all of this torture that I'm suffering is coming from the top, and it's working its way in from the top and making its way down. And then if I complain about it, I'm gaslit, which is a Holocaust, or I'll be overdosed systemically, or I will go to jail, directly to jail, and they'll make stuff up to try to tag me with this. So, like you've been seeing, like I've been reporting on for quite some time here. But every single one of these websites that he's watching is encrypted, and so it's safe. So if you click it, you're going to get a redirection to like some insurance fake policy shit. But I actually was able to take that all off of there with a little bit of work, and I found that all of those links were just redirections to, or encrypted redirections to Pornhub. So he's just at work watching porn all day long. Then he comes home tired and ready to fight. And then, I mean, if he's watching porn or having sex or having an affair or flirting at work or just synchronizing those attacks together and all of that, who am I supposed to be talking to? What am I supposed to be doing? What am I even doing here? And so he will literally torture us, leave us stranded with no food, electricity, no water, go to work, jack off, put that bitch first, and flirt with his new boss. You know, they got all of these honeypots coming and going. They murdered his cousin, so he's like, obviously he's demonically possessed because he lusts for his cousin's murderer. And so that is this COINTELPRO, 110%, all of them combined. Every single one of them, not one of them is guilt-free. They're all guilty. They're all dirty. And so then he comes home tired and he can't perform in bed. And like, trust me, like your quote unquote wife knows when you've already had sex. She knows when you've already jacked off, when your fucking dick can't get hard or you can't perform. And then they synchronize all of that with an electronic harassment attack to prolong the suffering. So they're using or abusing technology to prolong the suffering, to incite domestic violence, to incite feelings of inadequacy, insecurity. But here's my thing. This John is so abusive that he'll come home and try to fuck me with a soft dick and make me feel like it's my body that is the cause for his soft dick, when that's not true. It's actually him jacking off all day, raping Boeing out of that check. And so this is also the real reason why he's quote unquote so busy. This is the real reason why he's ignoring me, because he's watching porn at work and jacking off, and I have the evidence to prove that as well. When I was sitting over here thinking it was just a joke and it was just funny, it's actually true, and my intuition or my gut instinct was right again. So it doesn't matter how crazy I sound when I sit over here doing all this shit talking. 90% of the time it's true. If you do the research for yourself, you'll figure this out. So, and then he puts us last. Like, he'll go jack off, watch porn, flirt with these things, leave us to starve, leave us to be all thirsty or just whatever, and then won't get to it until the very end of the day or just last. And then by that time he's tired. He's already got what he wants. He has everything that he wants. What does he need me for? And that's the very idea that's also abuse. So anyways, and then when they get caught, they get into these arguments and he's like begging me to hit him. So if he ever gets slapped, he begged for that. He literally stood right here and begged me to hit him many, many, many times when we argued about this yesterday. And so when he finally does get hit, slapped, whatever, he's begging for it, quite literally, not just with his actions, not just with his energy, but with his mouth. He's consenting. Okay, so don't ever have any empathy, and I should never, ever, ever be judged negatively or go to jail, because I am such an amazing person for dealing with this shit and for not hurting anybody yet. Such an amazing woman. such a strong human being. So anyways, I wanted to mention that I had a friend named Tiffany when I was a teenager, and I met her at some sort of camp that they were having at the time for children in the CPS system. Now, Tiffany landed there somehow, and I'm going to kind of briefly go over what happened to her and her family and how she ended up in that system. So Tiffany's dad was a substitute school teacher, and he got caught masturbating to porn at work. And I understand that Jerron is not a teacher, but nevertheless, let me continue the story. And because he was a substitute teacher who got caught, Tiffany's dad, my friend, so anyways, because he's a substitute teacher who got caught masturbating at work, and I know they say everybody does it, but in this context and in this case, it was a teacher. So the penalty was so much more, extreme, and he lost his job and he lost his kids because he got tagged or flagged or charged with some sort of lewd, lascivious acts around minors. And it's not the same exact situation, but it is similar. He is going to work. He is constantly talking about how tired he is or how busy he is from working. That couldn't be further from the truth. I already know that Boeing has a bad reputation for employees going to work and literally just sleeping there on the job, and they get fired for that as well. So, not the same exact situation, but still going to work and raping Boeing for their time, and likes the ego boost of knowing that they get paid to jack off at work. And that validation makes them feel like they're competing with, I guess, models or porn stars somehow, some way. And then, of course, puts his family absolute last. It took 6 years for him to call me his wife. And I know he's been holding this grudge, because when I went to go get my tattoo finished, when Shannon finished my Phoenix, Dron and I had not known each other for very long at that time. And I believe this was either in 2019, or 2020. I believe it was in the summer of 2019. So when Jerron had gone with me, we hadn't known each other for very long at that point. And Shannon had asked us both if we were planning on getting married. And I said no. And so Jerron has always held this grudge against me because I said no. Well, at the time, we just met each other. Well, come on, we don't really even know each other that well. We haven't lived with each other at all yet. So, and this was before that we moved in together. So he's always been holding this little grudge against me about getting married and treating me like his wife, and he's always treated me different. So I just wanted to say, I wonder if his brother leaves his wife and kids there with no food and water, stranded, no car, no nothing. I wonder if the other brother, I don't know what his name is, but whatever. I wonder if the other brother does the same thing to his wife and kids. Do they control the gas? Do they control the car? Do they do all of these, pull out all the stops and make all of these hurdles so that, that it makes it nearly impossible to live comfortably? I highly doubt that's the case, because if they are doing that, then that is abuse. And I don't see their relationships being affected by this counterculture the way that mine is. And I don't see them fighting the way that we fight here in my relationship. Because they're not being abused, you see.